She was out on the range swapping out targets when everything shifted. The afternoon sun over Coronado was relentless, baking the sand into coarse grit and turning the steel silhouettes into wavering mirages. Gunfire echoed across the training, grounds in steady rhythm, rolling off the low hills like distant thunder, for most. It was an ordinary day at the Naval Special Warfare Base, a place where extraordinary feats were simply part of the routine, where reputations were carved out between sweat, dust, and the silence after each shot. For her, it was meant to be simple. Why, she wasn't a SEAL. She wasn't even military. She was a civilian contractor, the background presence who hauled away. Shredded targets, stapled up fresh ones, fixed bent frames, and stayed unnoticed. Stepping onto the firing line was never part of her job, but life doesn't always respect job descriptions. She was halfway downrange carrying a stack of fresh silhouettes when the shooting stopped. At first, it didn't seem unusual. Safety. Rules required the line to go cold whenever someone was downrange. But after a few more steps, the quiet felt different. It wasn't disciplined silence. It was watchful, curious. A chill traced up her spine. 12 men stood behind the line, broad-shouldered and battle-tested. Their faces carved by experience most people would never comprehend. They weren't chatting, they weren't smirking. They were studying her. She kept moving, boots crunching. Against gravel, pretending she didn't notice, still she felt the weight of their attention. She set down the new targets, stripped away the torn paper, and told herself it was nothing. Just another pause. Just another day. When she turned back toward the shooters, one of them stepped forward. He wasn't the loudest or the youngest. Gray threaded through his hair, and his stance carried the easy authority of someone long accustomed to command. Others instinctively made space for him. He removed the rifle from his shoulder and extended it toward her. Then he stepped aside. It wasn't a casual offer. It was a challenge. For a heartbeat, she hesitated. Every sensible instinct urged her to decline, to retreat politely into the role she was hired for. She didn't belong in their world. Hadn't earned that right. But another voice surfaced, her father's. You don't shrink, kiddo. Not when it counts. Step up. Steady yourself. Take the shot, before doubt could take over. Her hands accepted the rifle. It felt solid and warm, heavier than expected. The faint scent of oil and sun-baked dust filled the air. 12 pairs of sharp eyes locked onto her as she planted her feet and settled into position. The world narrowed to a sight picture. Inhale, exhale. The shot cracked through the air. The silhouette jerked as the round struck center mass. Silence followed, thick and suspended, before a low murmur rolled through the line. Not ridicule, surprise, respect. She didn't pause. She shifted to the next target. Another shot. Another clean hit. And another. By the time she lowered the rifle, the range had fallen into a different kind of quiet, measured acknowledging. She handed the weapon back without trembling. It's not bad, the senior operator said slowly, a hint of a grin forming. For someone who just replaces targets, it could have ended there. A brief moment, story to fade. But it didn't. That evening, as she crossed the base toward her quarters, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to find him again. You shoot like you've done it your whole life, he said. She gave a small shrug. Grew up with it. My dad taught me early. Just not with rifles like that. He studied her thoughtfully. Doesn't matter. Skill is skill. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere shifted. The SEALs no longer looked through her. They looked at her. Sometimes they gestured toward the line, inviting her forward. Other times they handed her different weapons without a word, pistols, carbines, long-range setups. Each time she stepped up, each time she delivered. The teasing grew quieter. The nods grew more frequent. Respect replaced curiosity. She wasn't trying to earn approval. She wasn't chasing validation. She was simply doing what she'd always done, steadying herself when pressure arose, refusing to shrink when eyes were on her. Then came the day that truly tested her. The drill was unforgiving. Moving targets, shifting wind, limited rounds. Designed to expose weakness, she took her place on the line. The signal sounded. She moved without hesitation. Shot after shot rang out, each round deliberate. Targets dropped in sequence. The world seemed to blur until nothing remained but breath, trigger pressure, and steel silhouettes daring to stay upright. When the final target fell, smoke drifted in the warm air like the closing of a curtain. Silence. A low whistle cut through it. The senior operator approached, expression unreadable. "Most civilians can't do what you just did," he said. She met his gaze, calm and certain. "Good thing I'm not most civilians." This time the quiet felt different, charged, almost electric. Around her, subtle nods passed between the men. No applause, no ceremony, just acknowledgement. She still didn't wear their trident. She never would. But she had gained something rare in that world. Months later, she understood it hadn't really been about the marksmanship, not about perfect shots or passing drills. It was about stepping forward when it would have been easier to fade back, about standing in a space that didn't seem meant for her and proving to herself more than anyone that she belonged there. In quiet moments, she could still hear her father's words echoing clearly. "Don't shrink. Step up. Take the shot." And she had. And she always would.